Doing a Facebook Live. The audio only right now, though, so I can. Damaging wind gusts coming in there. So that's what we're looking at right now is strong wind down in Monroe County, Conecuh County, Butler County, Crenshaw County, Montgomery County, Pike County, Bullock County, anywhere kind of in that bow echoes type shape that I've shown you there is the concern. So yeah, the audio's fixed. That was operator error on my part. So we'll just sweep right along out of that mess. So that's where we're looking at strong gusty winds. This would be Beatrice, Georgiana, Laverne. And the raw velocity data here is suggestive of some really strong wind gusts. Now you get out here sort of on the edge of the radar, but the idea here is you're probably looking at some 50, 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts across parts of Crenshaw, Montgomery, Pike, and Butler counties. So the good news is this, guys, we're not seeing any strong evidence of rotation right now. So that is, if there's a saving grace in all of this, it is that we are not seeing any evidence of intense rotation. We are, however, seeing up and down the line here quite a bit of evidence of strong straight line wind gust. So it's really this, see this sort of little almost U shape right there that runs from Beatrice to Georgiana to Rutledge to Pike Road. So this is all going to start to move faster and faster as it slams through South Alabama over the next couple of hours. So we'll do a quick timeline estimate on this whole thing. So that's where it is now. I think the core of this by probably about 6:30 would be right on that line that you see that I've just drawn there. So that would be about your 6:30 line, and then your 7:30 line would be something like this. So again, those would be just that's just a very kind of ballpark estimate on this. 6:30, I think this gets down into Frisco City and Evergreen and Red Level and Brantley and Brundage and Troy. So between now and 6:30, it hits those areas. And the main hit here is going to be strong straight-line wind gust. Then between 6:30 and 7:30, this gets into Atmore and Brewton and Florala, Andalusia, Opp, Stanley, Red Oak, Kinston. Then this gets on over into Elba and Enterprise there into Coffee County. So this will be one of those situations where this is going to be with us for a while, unfortunately. Now, let me show you this. So this is a little split screen here. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's sort of the first band of this whole mess. But it is not the last band. Check this out. So this is the high-res rapid refresh model, our latest run just in. And it's doing pretty well. It's a little slow with the southward advance of storms, but that's normal. We expect that. So there's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I think like I drew on the map, this map, I think it'll be a little faster than what you see here, but the general concept here is pretty good. Now, as this moves southward, what you'll have will be these pockets of hail and wind. I can't rule out a brief tornado, but right now, so far, so good. That then kicks on out of here, but then look what happens late tonight. We get another batch of showers and storms. It gets cranked up between midnight and 3 a.m. This one would again be a hail and wind producer. I can't rule out a rogue tornado, but I think it would be the exception rather than the rule. Then by 4, 5, 6 a.m., that finally starts to kick into South Alabama. We have leftover rain and storms around the central counties and the southern counties through mid-morning, but by then I think the sort of organized, widespread severe weather risk sort of starts to wind down a little bit. So that's where this goes next, is that unfortunately I don't think we're quite done yet. I think there's the threat will continue in the central and southern counties especially over the next couple of hours, and then afterwards, later on tonight, we'll deal with yet another cluster of these intense thunderstorms. So the first alert weather day is still ongoing as a result of all of this this madness that we are unfortunately dealing with now across the state. Jay Shaw asks, what is a derecho, and is it possible a derecho is a large core of strong wind? Frankly, I doubt this will qualify as such, but stranger things, you know. So it's something we'll just have to kind of wait, watch, and see. Interesting to note, just a moment or two ago, new tornado watch for far southeast Alabama. That one just came out.
Well, and they just tagged,
4 minutes ago. Just the Wiregrass, though.
Yeah, they just tagged the Bullock, Macon, Pike County storm as destructive. We've seen that happen.
I buy that. Yeah, meteorologist Nick Gunner in the house.
Hi.
Let's see if we can.
Everybody.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
You may saw me walk back and forth there to the storm track zone.
That's right, they did. But I was noticing over my shoulder the teleprompter is visible. Can you read the top line of what the teleprompter says?
Holy crap, guys.
That's what's probably, I'm guessing that's natural sound.
Here, I have a
rundown. So that's the first sound you're going to hear in the 6 o'clock news tonight is, holy crap, guys. So there you go.
Look at that tree going up in the air.
Look at that tree going up in the air.
There's you a tease for the 6 o'clock show.
Yeah, so some pretty intense stuff happening at the top of the 6 o'clock news. All right, so back to radar. Nick was just talking about they've tagged that destructive coming out of Montgomery County. So that's what they've done with it's really the kind of leading edge of that cluster coming, the worst of it right here down in Montgomery County heading into Bullock County. Isn't that right, Nick?
Yeah, and 80-mile-per-hour winds are possible within that storm cell itself. We've had a lot of rain, and these winds, no matter if they're straight-line tornado, a tree doesn't know the difference. So it could easily take down trees.
So 80-mile-per-hour winds kind of in this cluster right there that is moving sort of this way, so southeast. So that's the worst of it right there. So, guys, I would honestly, if you live in a mobile or manufactured home in Pike County, I would think long and hard about treating this almost like a tornado warning. Go to that safe place. If you live at Troy and Goshen and Banks and Brundage and Union Springs and especially southern Bullock County, Pike County, Crenshaw County, northern Covington County, I would almost, if you live in a mobile home, I would think about this as potentially like a tornado, because like Nick said, the wind doesn't do any more damage because it's spinning in a circle or blowing straight. it does damage because the wind is blowing very intensely, and that's what we're seeing within this pretty nasty line. So 80-mile-per-hour winds now in this Bo Echo that's running right now from McKenzie to Laverne, back towards Hector and Shopton there in Bullock County. So Bullock, Pike, Crenshaw, Covington, Butler County getting hit hard right now. Nick, you've got a report there from Clark County to pass along.
Yeah, National Weather Service in Mobile says reports of trees and power lines down in northern Clark County. They've also had reports of dime-sized hail and small limbs down in the Camden area in Wilcox County. So those are the reports from that storm cell. That I'm assuming the one over there that was warned a little bit earlier that's now pushing toward Butler or pushing through Butler into Crenshaw. Essentially, what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's part of that same cluster of storms that's just racing southward now. So yeah, here it comes: Monroeville, McKenzie, Brantley, Laverne, Troy, Hector, Shopton, Fitzpatrick. Here it comes. This is the real deal. Laquita says the wind blew the kids' playground away. That is unfortunate. Just glad everyone's okay.
Yeah.
David asking about Wetumpka. So to the north, we're getting a little break up here. So you'll notice here, I'll stop the animation on the radar. If you live north of this line, you're done with severe weather for now. So we will probably deal with more severe weather late tonight and tomorrow morning, but the risk has ended there. And Nick, I think, my buddy Will Cush asked about the tornado watch being extended. I think so far in our area, minus Eufaula, minus Henry County, we haven't seen a lot of rotation in these storms.
Yeah.
And going into the overnight hours, I don't think that, never say never, I don't think that will change. I think the tornado risk is low. It's not zero, but I think it would take a really misbehaving storm to do that.
Yeah, and essentially the National Weather Service in Birmingham and Mobile decided that the wind and hail threat was the more significant threat with these storm cells. So that's why they issued a severe thunderstorm watch downstream of it. But there's been a lot of activity when it comes to the tornado variety in Georgia. They've had multiple tornado warnings over in the state of Georgia during the day today. I remember watching our sister station over in Albany, Georgia. They were just
one after the other, man. It
was
just really wild.
Wall to wall with tornado warnings over there. And the National Weather Service in Tallahassee, they're the ones who cover that area. They cover the Wiregrass as well. That's likely the reason why they extended the tornado watch for that area until midnight. In kind of the juxtaposition of several National Weather Service offices trying to find out what's
figure
best.
out what's happening.
Yeah.
And the environment, clearly, they have had multiple rotating storms and a couple of tornadoes in the Wiregrass, and elsewhere we haven't. So, that saying, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Well, the atmosphere tells us sometimes what it is, and we believe it. So we think the tornado threat is not zero. It is low.
It only takes one to make a difference.
That's right. If you have one tornado, and frankly, a lot of this wind is pretty similar to tornado. In fact, check this out. This is the velocity product off of the Fort Novacell radar. Look at that.
Yeah. They were saying when they warned it destructive, it had 80 plus. That's what they tagged it as.
Yeah, so we're seeing a core right here. They're saying 75 knots aloft at Pike and Bullock. That's what they're talking about right there. So that's a core of wind that up above the ground is blowing at 80 or 90 miles per hour. Now, that doesn't always make it down to the ground, but some of it does. Usually about 75% of it makes it down to the ground. So that is some really, really intense wind that we're seeing right there. That's where Pike, Montgomery, and Bullock all come together. So that will be along 231 south of Sykes and Conn, north of Troy. So around Orion, if you live out near Lockheed Martin, anywhere in northern Pike County, you need to be paying a lot of attention to this thing. It's a monster. This is a really tough thing with a lot of strong wind involved.
And there's been a lull in activity in that part of the state from this morning compared to where we are now. It did allow a lot of those locations down in South Alabama to heat up. And if you've stepped outside any point today, you've felt the humidity. It smacked you in the face. And so that kind of adds fuel to the fire for these storms that we're currently seeing in that part of the state.
That has been the case. Nick, by the way, I noticed he has his MacBook Air over here.
Fun
I know.
fact.
Um,
I'm not paid by Mac, by the way.
Can you download a program called Switchercast on there?
Sure.
Because if you can, I might be able to actually show
I think
them.
I actually already have this up here.
Do you? Well, look at that. Paint me green and call me Gumby.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure
Display
how this
one?
works.
I got you. Here, let me. I'll do the engineering on this.
I might
Input.
be able to make this full screen, actually.
Display one on Nick's MacBook Air.
Set.
Pardon our progress. That's what they say when they're doing roads, right?
Yes.
Look at there.
Oh,
You
wow.
are now live on Facebook.
Oh, look at me.
So if you want to telestrate, narrate, or obliviate, you can do anything you want. The world is indeed your oyster, my
Well,
friend.
essentially, this area, especially our friends down in Andalusia, Escambia County, Conecuh County, and even the areas down there in southern portions of the state toward the Wiregrass, really has been untouched most of the day today. And it's hot. I mean, at one point, we were seeing temperatures well into the upper 90s down in in Andalusia. And these storms, it could just add fuel to the fire for these. And when it hits that warm air, it can intensify fairly rapidly and cause some of that damaging wind that we could be seeing played out right now. In fact, look, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning now for portions down in, was that Coffee, Dell, and Henry counties?
I think you're going to start to see some pretty large polygons.
Yeah. I have it right here. There it is. There's one popped up. Let's see if I can remember how to take this off. See if I can click on that. Yeah, there it is. The new warning that was just issued for these counties here. 60-mile-per-hour winds with that cell that they're concerned about. And again, hail damage to vehicles could be expected in the strongest storm core itself. Could see wind damage to roof sidings and trees. So overall, we really want to stay inside.
Fun
within
factor,
this.
0.
Yeah, not fun at all. I mean, we heard the winds howling here between the buildings in downtown with that line pushing through a little bit earlier. And definitely not going to be a fun time at all.
We'll go back into this storm. This is
Okay.
that one that's down there in Pike. That's some really intense wind. That's a little core of that's going to bring down trees. You're going to have power outages as this thing comes through. So tracking it, I'll click the play button here, and you can see this is moving a little south of due east. So something like that trajectory right there. So Pike County, north of Troy, from Troy, back up into Banks, Sandfield. If you live up 223, 239, some of the highways coming up there out of Banks heading into Bullock County, that's sort of the area we're watching. That's a really intense core of wind there. So, a lot of questions. I think we're back now.
Okay.
Well, I think it probably created a new one.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. We're almost at the 6 anyway. All right, so I think that Facebook Live had a problem. So we're going to wind this thing down. I will answer all of the questions by typing answers to you. So if you left a comment on the previous Facebook Live, head over there. I will reply to each one individually. We've got WSFA 12 News at 6 coming back up. Looks like that it came back up online on the same Facebook Live, which that makes me happy.
It does.
So
yeah.
it was a relatively brief outage. That said, we're sort of up against it here at 5:55. Weather is the lead story, obviously, in tonight's 6 o'clock news. So, moral of the story, if you're just joining us, there are active thunderstorms over South Alabama. These are producing strong, damaging wind situations. Multiple areas of strong, damaging wind gusts across Bullock, Pike, Crenshaw, northern Covington, and Butler. That's moving south. That'll be out of our hair later on by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or so. Probably 8 at the latest. That'll be down along the Florida border. But then new storms are going to form later tonight and into tomorrow morning. These will again have the potential to produce more damaging straight-line wind gusts. So if you're asking again about the specific communities, towns, and cities, that's our best answer. Troy getting rocked.
Yeah, Troy's getting hit. Yeah.
I don't like the shape of that.
I may actually stand by here. I may be able to.
You can pull it up on the website.
Yeah. There you go.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Up. Will it not let me go full screen?
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Here, I'll
All right, so what you're looking at now is live over downtown Troy. This is our Health Star camera network, and it is raining and raining hard, and the wind is whipping those trees around pretty hard too. So that's the leading edge of it right there coming into Troy. We're going to have a pretty phenomenal view. Look at that, the lightning flashing across the sky. That storm diving in here quickly. We'll do a quick split screen on this so you can kind of see it. Troy is right here. I'll just draw a big X right over Troy. That's where it's coming into right now. So this is what it looks like live along that leading edge. It's pretty remarkable that we're able to sort of look and see this happen in real time. So again, this is in Pike County, some very intense wind here. And Nick, it'll be interesting to see what kind of wind gust we get out at the airport there in Troy.
definitely.
Based on what we've seen in Montgomery County and others, that Troy storm, that's going to produce probably 60 to 65 mile per hour gusts at the airport would be my estimate on that. So, oh man, stuff. Laverne getting hammered hard. We're still on the same live via the comments. That's a plus.
Yeah, thankfully.
I know. Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah, this camera is just shaking.
Minute away from the newscast. Kelsey says rough in Troy.
Yeah.
10-4. Becca says, do you know anything for Alexander City? Yes, we've talked about this. The storms are moving through South Alabama now, Alex City, and all of central Alabama. You're going to get a little break over the next several hours, but then later tonight, into the early hours of Thursday morning, a new cluster of storms will form and move across. It could, too, produce more severe weather. So you have a brief lull now. If you're north of this line, you've got a brief lull now, but man, that is something.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief. Let's take that full.
Trying to see if I can't make this Chrome full.
It's pretty well. I mean,
Does it look okay?
yeah, it's most of the screen.
Oh, okay.
Those trees are just taking a
Yeah.
whipping down there.
I think our
Troy. That's
producer in the
rough.
back has been moving it.
Controlling it.
Yeah.
Hannah says things are rough on the Highway 29 side of Goshen, too. I buy that, absolutely. That is a really rough storm down there in Pike, and we'll have to keep kind of an eye on that thing, make sure it doesn't start rotating. But frankly, this is like an EF0 tornado in a lot of respects.
Well, it just looks like a wall
Moving
of
across
wind.
the whole county. Yeah,
just a wall of wind.
So Pike County, please stay inside. Do not go outside in Pike County right now. This is a rough deal there. No rotation right now, Joseph. Montgomery County, the worst of it is now through you for now. There could be more storms later. 6 o'clock news is starting right now. Join us over on TV. We'll leave this stream up with no audio. All right, let's have some audio. Everyone wants audio. Ben says, what is a video any good for without the forecast? Well, I think a lot of things. We've been showing you camera views from around the state along with radar and commenting in the comments, Ben. So cheer up, friend. We're back. Big line of mean storms now. Barber, Coffee, Dale, Pike, Crenshaw, Covington. Here's radar. You see it now. The good news is we don't see any sign of rotation within this. And by the way, we have audio right now on WSFA 12 News, which you can watch on the weather app. You can watch on television. If your satellite's out, watch it on the weather app. You can also just go to WSFA.com/live. So if you have internet access to get on a Facebook Live, then you can watch that newscast if audio is really what you are chasing in life, which it seems to be in some cases. So I get it. I understand the frustration there, but we're doing the best we can because 6 o'clock news is happening 10 feet behind us. So that's what we're dealing with right now. North of that big, mean, ugly line of storms, things have calmed down now. In fact, if you live north of that blue line right there, so north of Union Springs, north of Greenville, north of Camden, leftover rain, sure, but this storm line is moving away from you, and things are going to calm down for a while north of that line. So I'm talking Linden, Selma, Demopolis, Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, but more storms could form later on tonight, and those can be problematic. So we are heading into Maine weather now momentarily. So watch that again, WSFA 12 News. You can watch on TV. You can watch on the app. We will be back right after. Hey guys, it's us again. We are back with some cool audio updates. So the line is just moving so fast, Nick. That's wild. I mean, the leading edge of this is in Ozark. The leading edge of this was in Troy 25 minutes ago,
Yeah, so it's booking it.
and now it's in Ozark. Every state trooper in the state would write you a ticket for getting there that quickly. So there's that. That's the most dangerous part of this is really right along that leading edge. So we're talking Carolina to Opp, to the north end of Enterprise to Ozark, back over towards Eufaula. So this is coming southward pretty quick here. Some really stout wind up and down this entire line. So I know a lot of you are saying your power is going out. You can follow along with these updates on the WSFA First Alert Weather app. So. And the audio seems to be working. Justin says he can't hear me. I'm showing good audio. Everyone else, can you hear? Chime in and let me know. Where's my no audio? Where's Ben? Ben is an audio guy. He should tell me more if he can hear me or not. Ben, do you read me? This is First Alert 12. Over and out. I don't know radio lingo. Do you?
No.
No. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're almost into sports in our 6 o'clock news. Justin, no rotation. We don't see any rotation up and down this entire line right now. There is a ton of strong straight line wind gusts, though. We'll do a quick rotation check in this before we head back to quiet land. Yeah, so don't see anything. Ton of strong straight line wind, especially that. Let's head up there. Let me show you this. That's it right there. That's what we're talking about. It's like right here. That's just some brutal wind. So Ayrton up 51 to Clio, back over to Brundage, Hamilton Crossroads, really where Barber, Pike, and Dale come together, a really substantial risk of strong straight-line wind gust. Brandon, yes for now, but Central Alabama could have problems later. Hey, gang, welcome back. It's your favorite two meteorologists named Josh and Nick who work in Montgomery, Alabama on a Wednesday.
Yes.
We
Which
with-
is technically my Monday.
We win that category. Technically, his Monday.
Yes.
Okay, so big, mean, ugly line of storm still prowling through the Wiregrass now. This thing is not any fun. Check it out. Really strong straight line wind gusts now coming into Kinston, Enterprise, Samston, Clay-Hatchie, Newton, back into Henry County. Seems like we've called your name 20 times today.
Henry and Barber.
Henry and Barber. Some reports to pass along. Trees down near Airport Road and up. I would imagine right now, Nick, there are probably thousands of trees down in Alabama.
Yeah. Here, I'll try to get back on chat.
On that note, I know there are 38,700 Alabama Power customers without service at this moment. Now, remember, Alabama Power covers a lot of the state, but power co-ops cover other portions. So it's likely that the number is much higher than that. I would suspect that we're up around 50 or 60,000 statewide without electricity right now. What time is it expected to hit Dothan? It will be there soon. I know that's not overly specific. I would say probably around 6:48.
Oh.
How's that for a precise prediction?
And good news, they have started trimming off the severe thunderstorm watch.
I think that's smart. I mean,
Yeah.
this line's racing through so quickly. I really think by 7 o'clock, this is exclusively in the Wiregrass. And then by 8 o'clock, it's probably out of the state entirely. And then we will get to try to play the game of figure out if there will be more storms later. On that note, let me show you this. So this is our latest run of our high-res rapid refresh model. Okay, so it's already way behind, though. Look at that. So this is wild. Where those storms are right now, it thinks they will be at 7 o'clock. So I guess that's not terrible, but
about
it's
30 minutes.
It's about 30 minutes behind. So this kicks on out of here later this evening, and then a new cluster of storms pops and rolls into southwest and south central Alabama, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then things quiet down for a few hours if we're lucky. Wendy asks, isn't this just the first round? This is probably, what round is this, Nick? I've kind of lost track, if I'm being totally
Well,
honest,
there's one this morning.
in the eastern counties, and then kind of another one around Eufaula. That was
Yeah.
sort of a separate batch of storms.
And then this one started
round
over
2
in
maybe?
Mississippi and then kind of morphed into a big line
Mm-hmm.
as it pushed southward.
And then we deal with a third round later on tonight. So that's probably the last one, though. So round 1 kicks out. Round 2 gets going later on. Moves into the southern counties. I'm talking about leftover rounds. We've already dealt with other stuff. Yeah, Spring Hill, Nicole, you're exactly right. Spring Hill and Pike County, it's essentially the severe weather from this specific batch of storms has ended. But we will deal with more intense storms later on tonight, likely, say, after 10 p.m., after 11 p.m., you'll get another batch of pretty intense thunderstorms that dives on through. No tornado warnings, Pamela, anywhere in the state right now. We don't have any tornado warnings, and quite frankly, no real strong evidence of rotation either. We'll swap over to radar, pause it, go into our storm relative velocity. Yeah, there's not a dime's worth of rotation in this. This is purely strong, damaging wind gust. That's what we're dealing with in the Wiregrass primarily. There you see it. There you have it. You know, a lot of you watching this in central Alabama, there's really not a lot left to talk about. There's leftover rain east of 65. That's clearing out pretty fast too, though. A lot of West Alabama's dry right now. Marengo, Perry, Dallas, most of Wilcox, Watauga, Lowndes, Chilton, Coosa, mainly dry. Later on tonight, though, we'll probably run it back and do this again with more strong storms. What about Opp? Strong storms coming through there right now. Things will get better in Opp, but it's going to take a little while longer. I think by 7:30 to 8, there'll be improvement. There will be some improvement in Opp, but as of right now, it's still a bit problematic.
I We've gotten a storm report out of wind gusts of only 34. I say only because we've seen higher earlier, but quite a bit of rain. I think rain is a big issue too.
I do too. And wherever that thing stalls out, there's really going to be a problem with some flash flooding. It seems like that will be in Florida. Yeah, the high-res rapid refresh. Yeah, kind of doesn't stall it at all. Kind of kicks it on through even in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one stalls along Interstate 10 early tomorrow morning. Be a rough ride to Disney World.
Rough ride to the beach.
Rough ride to the beach. That's right. Calm now, but the tree took out our neighbor's house. Are they okay?
Oof.
Gosh, that's terrible. Storm and op is no joke. Yes, I agree.
I agree.
What about Titus overnight? More scattered storms. Some could be severe. James, where'd that happen with the neighbor's house? Power out down around Pine Level, Sykes and Con, the Meriwether Trail area. That's in South Montgomery County. What about Florala?
About to get hammered.
It's coming, yeah. You've got about 15, 20 minutes before you get some pretty rough weather in Florala. Tree ripped out of the ground and dumped on the house. James, is everyone okay at their house? They all right? What do we got going on there? Back to radar behind us here. All right, James says they're okay. That's good.
Great to hear. And speaking of water, they've issued a outlook for the thunderstorms ongoing.
Here, I'll show you. Actually, you probably ought to take that full. So what are we looking at here, Nick?
Well, they've issued the Storm Prediction Center issues these graphic casts showing us that heavy rain could be an issue as this line of showers and storms dives southward, and just talking about that could deal with wind and possible flooding within some of the most intense wet storm cells. Locally, higher amounts, flash flooding could be possible in that area, shaded in the purple outline here, which includes a large area of South Alabama and the Florida Panhandle, South Georgia too. So the rainfall rates within these storms are enough to issue or warrant the possibility of flash flooding in some of those areas. So turn around, don't drown. We say that a lot, especially if you live in South Alabama. These storms dump so much rain in such a little amount of time. It's very hard for some of these storm drains and storm cellars and I'm losing the thought of the word, but you know what I'm going, the drainage system to keep up with that. So
You got to speak for everyone when I say yuck.
yeah.
So how's that for data overload? Look at this. We've got 3 things on the screen now.
We have 3 now.
Yeah, it'll pop up in a moment. So flooding risk continues, South Alabama. Strong straight-line wind gust, damaging wind threat now getting into portions of Escambia, Covington, Geneva, Coffeedale, Henry County. Gosh, that's tough there too. Let me take that full real quick, that radar shot there. So this is the real deal over here. That's the strongest part of that line by far. Let me switch over to Maxwell too. Novacell, Fort Novacell radar. The artist formerly known as Fort Rucker radar was attenuating pretty badly. But now, yeah, so a little pro tip on this, guys. Whenever you see this really sharp gradient, like you see right here, between a lot of rain over here and then no rain on this side, when you see that sharp gradient like that, that's almost always indicative of some very strong straight-line wind gusts. So Headland to Newville, up towards Abbeville, Haleburg, they're getting rocked right now. Really, really strong straight-line wind in that area. Power's out north of Ozark. What about Columbus and Phoenix City? Things are getting better there. Yeah, leftover rain. That's really about it for now. There could be more problems later on tonight, but for now, we're in a little bit of a lull in some of these places. Really anywhere north of this line. So if you live from Red Level, Brantley, Dozier, Brundage, Clayton, Eufaula, northward, you've got a temporary break in the storms. The problem is what will happen later on tonight. Nick, you've got some power outage intel over there, huh?
I do.
Well, let's look at that, shall we?
It's a website that compiles or tries to compile most of the power outages within the states. And you can obviously tell from this map where this line of showers and storms has moved through because it's really bullseyed there from Lowndes County down to Butler County over toward Wilcox County. And just as this line intensified and dived southward, it was causing trees down, which could cause power outages, and that's what we're seeing a lot of right now in the southern half of the state, which does include Montgomery County as well. Dallas County seeing kind of shows you, again, these are just the numbers that this website tracks, but quite a substantial amount of power outages in southern half of the state right now with these lines of showers and storms.
And Nick, I apologize. I was not yawning at you. I was yawning at my lack of sleep, so I reached for
Diet Sunkiss.
dun 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 dun. The greatest beverage there ever was.
Sunkiss Zero.
Sunkiss Zero. They don't even Diet Sunkist is no more.
I didn't know that.
It's now only Sunkiss Zero. So we got that going for us. Auburn and Camp Hill, clear for now. More storms could possible later. What about Bullitt County? Clear for now. More storms are possible later. Trees down everywhere and no power in Ob. That's from Heather. Yeah, and Nick, over 70,000 customers without power there on that site.
Yeah.
That's wild. All righty, let's...
And most of them are in our area.
Most of them are in right there in the middle of Central and South Alabama. No power in Eufaula. Trees down on 167 coming into Enterprise, blocking the roadway. Yeah, this is all, this is all sort of playing out according to script here. This really high-end threat of large hail and damaging wind with a secondary risk of a few tornadoes. So far, Nick, this has been about as advertised.
Yeah, and Eufaula, you were hit multiple times today. Had a potential tornado earlier in the day. Then you had this complex system roll through as well. And so Barber County, Henry County really got the brunt of these storms, not only from this morning, but through this afternoon and evening.
Monica asking about Auburn, please. Auburn, you're fine for now. More storms could pop later tonight. Marbury, you're fine for now. More storms could pop later tonight. Potter Station in Selma, no power since around 3 o'clock. Ooh, that's tough. Especially this time of year, it gets so hot, you know.
And in Selma, we went on briefly for that considerable, they tagged the storm considerable or destructive. They have multiple tags with severe thunderstorm warnings now. The highest threat they have is destructive. And so we went on the air for that, just giving a first alert heads up for Selma, Dallas County, as that storm rolled through and caused all that the power outages there a little bit earlier.
And in case you're curious about that, if you load up right now and go over to the First Alert Weather app, you can scroll over and actually did a video about exactly what Nick is talking about, these categories of severe thunderstorms. There's really 3 categories. There's your base severe thunderstorm warning. Then they can tag it with considerable damage or destructive damage. And destructive is as bad as it gets with winds over 80 miles an hour, hail up to baseball size. So if you're curious about that, when we're done here, just slide on over to the First Alert Weather app, and you can check that out. And learn more about the differences in severe thunderstorm warnings. Christian's asking about Luverne. What about tornadoes with that system coming, and around what time?
So we just got an emailed update from our boss about what's happening right now in Crenshaw County, and the EMA director is asking everyone to stay off the roads. They've had a lot of trees come down and power outages in the county, so they're trying to assess that and clean up the roads. And so you only make it worse trying to go out and see what's happening. So just stay inside and let the EMA director assess the damage so they can clean up the roads with all the trees that are down. That goes for any county.
Sound
in our area.
advice. It's really good advice. Okay, a couple of questions. What are the future storms tonight? Mobile home, Crenshaw County tornadoes possible? Yes, Christian, they are possible. We don't know if there will be one in Crenshaw County or not. If we knew that, we'd go ahead and tell you. We'd warn you as soon as we knew. We don't know. The tornado risk through the rest of the night, in my opinion, is low. It's not zero, but it is low. Same thing in Kristen's question in Prattville. We can't give anyone the all clear from a tornado threat. The tornado threat the rest of the night is low, but it's not zero. Area wide, that's the case. If you're watching this in the southern half of Alabama, that's the answer to the question. So no, Niara, Troy's not in the clear. Troy's fine with these storms. You got a break. In Pike County, things will calm down for a good while in Pike County, but more storms will probably hit you later on tonight. So that's the best answer that we can give you. And now I've got the hiccups. What are we going to do?
It happens to the best of us.
So big time wind threat now. Houston, Henry, Dale, Coffee, Geneva.
And it's entering Dothan right now. Like right now.
Right now. It made it from Troy to Dothan in about 50 minutes.
I know one thing. I can't make it from
That is-
Troy to Dothan in 50 minutes.
To paraphrase the famous song, that is southbound and down right there. They're letting the hammer down.
I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't.
Christian says they went ahead and went to a brick home. Just going to stay here tonight. Thank you. I'll be real honest with you. That's always a good choice. I mean, if all it cost you was spending the night somewhere else, that's a good outcome. So I don't think you'll regret that decision ever. All right, we're coming up on an hour on this Facebook Live. This is like a marathon, Nick.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, they've had to put up with us for an hour now.
I say I can't run, so I'd rather do this marathon than an actual marathon.
The only time I run is if something is chasing me. Something bigger than me, too. If it's my size, I'll take my chances, you know. All right, so we're going to wind this thing down for now. Watch the weather app for updates throughout the evening. WSFA 12.2, we have a newscast that airs there with this gentleman here, meteorologist Nick Gunter. We'll be on at 9 o'clock. You can watch that newscast live on 12.2.
Also, fun fact, it's on WTVY 4.3, CW Dothan.
So if you have the CW in Dothan, you can see it there. Then I'll be along at 10 o'clock, and some combination of Nick and I will be here all night tonight. I'll probably be here all night. He'll be here most of the night. I'm hoping to get you out of here quick. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping to get everyone in bed fast tonight too, right? I mean, like,
fingers crossed for that.
let's just get everybody to sleep and we'll have a better night. All right, so we'll do another Facebook Live later this evening. We'll staff the weather office and the Advanced Law Firm Storm Track Zone all night tonight to keep you ahead of everything that comes our way. So we appreciate your time and your patience, and we will chat again later on this evening. Watch the app, watch our Facebook pages, watch our newscast for updates, and we'll do another